How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Set 6, and a Happy New Year to everybody. I hope we all have a great 2025 going forwards. But today, we've got a quick one to talk about. And it's a quick one about a video that I noticed a couple of hours ago on YouTube, and it's pretty interesting because it suggests something that might happen in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. So, I figured I'd, shine a light on it a little bit, but talk about it as well. So yeah, do all the things, like the video, subscribe for future content, but let's jump into it. So the video that I'm talking about is a video by Last Elixir Productions, and it's a video talking about a cave that was in the area of the Forgotten Capital, but you could never access it. And it is a cave that I'd noticed before, but there were a few little things like that in Final Fantasy VII, where something was going to be a thing and then it got dummied out, so I assumed that's what it was and just moved on with my life. But Last Elixir Productions, among other people seemingly, did not move on with their lives, and they've learned something quite interesting. Make sure that you go and check their video out. I'm going to put it in the description. It's called FF7's Most Mysterious Cave. And the basic gist of it, I'm not going to go into any of the detail, but the basic gist of it is that there was a second exit from Bone Village that would become accessible on Disc 2, and that would be the Ancient Forest. The Ancient Forest is the place that you can only access by defeating Ultimate Weapon or getting a gold chocobo, and that's in the Cosmo region. And this exit from Bone Village would take you through the Ancient Forest, and then the final screen of the Ancient Forest, if you remember correctly, it's a cave that you end up in, and it opens out and you emerge from this cave in the Coral Valley. Definitely go check the video out, see how they've worked all this out. It's a very interesting video, it's a very good video, it's a very well edited video, so definitely worth giving it a few minutes of your time and going and checking out the video. But this suggests something potentially for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, because we have seen locations move around a little bit. The geography of Final Fantasy VII Remake's world isn't exact to the geography of Final Fantasy VII's world. We've already seen the Temple of the Ancients move up to the northern region massively. We've already been in the Cosmo region, and I don't remember seeing any sign of the Ancient Forest. Anyone? Answers on a postcard? Let me know. But as far as I can remember, I don't remember seeing it. So, is it possible that the Ancient Forest is going to go back to what is seemingly, according to this video by Last Elixir Productions, the original location for the Ancient Forest? And it does make sense. It does make sense in a lot of ways for the Ancient Forest to be up in the northern continent where we see this massive hub of Cetran archaeology and locations. It'd make sense for the Ancient Forest to be somewhere connected to the Forgotten Capital and everything like that. So that's got me thinking that there's a solid possibility that we do get the Ancient Forest in the northern continent. Whether or not we go there quite early remains to be seen, because, we've kind of skipped Bone Village as it is at the minute. Maybe we end up having to circle back at some point and go through it. Maybe it's slightly further north, maybe it's an area now that's just before the North Crater potentially. There's a lot of options for it, but I just thought it was a really interesting video about how the Ancient Forest was originally going to be in a completely different location, and that was in the northern continent. And it's definitely got me thinking about what other things we could see moving to different locations. I mean, I don't know how many options there are now remaining for things that could move to different locations, but it feels like the Ancient Forest could be a pretty strong possibility. Like I say, I don't remember seeing it in Rebirth, and I would have expected when we were in the Cosmo region to have at least caught a glimpse of it. Let me know if you remember seeing it. I cannot remember. Genuinely cannot remember. But then, I suppose the question becomes, if the Ancient Forest does move to the northern continent, do we see a slightly different Ancient Forest to the one that we saw in the OG? Because in the OG, the Ancient Forest was very much all about getting there, solve the minor puzzles that are going on, and get all the loot. That's literally all it was. Get here, solve things, get loot, leave. So that's a pretty basic location, realistically. It is a pretty basic location. If we are going to see it in Remake Part 3, and it is maybe going to end up reconnected with all of the other ancient locations in Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth's world, what's to say that maybe we don't get some expansion on the Cetran story? What's to say that maybe we don't find some ruins, maybe some more holograms like we found in the Temple of the Ancients? Maybe this is a good opportunity for us to get... Because a lot of people want lore about the Cetrans, and, you know, we don't get much of it, so when we do get it, it's massively appreciated, and this could be a strong opportunity to give us that lore. This could be a very good opportunity. Obviously, I'm taking what is a very interesting concept from the OG that was scrapped originally, and blowing it wildly out of proportions and speculating like a madman. But that's what we do here, so don't worry about it. But I do think there's a solid possibility for it. Like I say, go and check out the video, watch it, enjoy it, and let me know in the comments below what you think about the possibility of the Ancient Forest maybe moving up to the northern area, around Bone Village, the Forgotten Capital, that sort of thing. And on top of that, what other locations that are remaining do we think we could see some movement from? Like, do we still end up getting Lucretia's Cave, and does that end up being relocated to somewhere else now? All of the underwater locations are probably going to be redesigned and things like that, so things might move around in the sense of things that are underwater, so like the Gelnica, the Key to the Ancients, the crashed submarine, pesky Emerald Weapon. Although I assume Emerald Weapon's just going to be wandering around again, as usual. But there are a lot of possibilities for things to move around. I think it's pretty interesting. This video about the Ancient Forest is mega interesting because it does show that there was a plan to tie it in more with the whole Bone Village area. And it makes me wonder why they decided to move it. Maybe they felt like the Cosmo region was a little bit low on things to do. Maybe it was something like that. I'm not too sure. Maybe they came up with the idea of like some sort of barrier to it that was very, very late game. Maybe they decided having it where they had it was a little bit too early in the game to give players access to it. But surely you could just move the time you access it. Like, you could have made it something like when the party in Bugenhagen head to the Forgotten Capital, make it that you go through the Ancient Forest then. Something forces you to go through the Ancient Forest instead of going the easier route. It's definitely something worth thinking about. I watched that video earlier on today and it just set me off down this course of thinking, and then I just reached the point of, well, I'm going to have to make a video about this, aren't I? So let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Do you think the Ancient Forest could move up to the northern continent? What kind of things do you think we will see expansion-wise if the Ancient Forest does move to the northern continent? And do you think any other locations in Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 will get the same treatment as the Temple of the Ancients in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and see themselves move to a completely new spot? Let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe for future content, but more importantly than all of that, have a great day.